God, that something be done in a positive way. We have in mind the citizens of this community. Oh God, we ask that something fresh and new happen in this place. We are standing and watching you to perform whatever it is that you want to happen on this meeting today. We thank you most of all for your darling son Jesus, who made it all possible. These are all of the blessings we ask in the name of Jesus. And all the people of God said, amen.
Good evening. I wanted to welcome you all to our District B Candidate Forum for the Greater Northeast Coalition of Civic Clubs. So I'm so delighted that you're here, and I'm just so grateful that we actually have this. But I wanted to also acknowledge my main thing was our civic leaders, and we have Ms. Duracell from Shady Titwell Timbers. We have Mr. Otis Miles from Scenic Wood Plaza. We have Dr. Willie Hunter from Riverwood Estates. And Ms. Black from Northwood Manor. And my name is Charles Noble. I'm from Fontaine and Scenic Wood Civic Club. Ms. Dole from Armstrong Acres. And did I leave anybody out? Again, thank you so much for being here, and we're just hopeful that you will gain some information and insight and be educated about the candidates as we go forward about who we're going to vote for. I want to introduce our moderator for tonight, Watikio, I'm going to mispronounce that name, Watikio Favoroff. And let's give her a warm welcome as she comes in.
How are you doing? I'd like to take a moment to introduce you to our moderator. She is Ms. Watikio Favoroff. She's a native Houstonian. She now resides in Dallas, Fort Worth. She is a seasoned human resources executive who has worked with several Fortune 500 companies. She is a senior partner and managing director of HR and Company, a human resource consulting firm for business, consumers, and government. She is also a graduate of Texas Tech University and Texas Women University. Ladies and gentlemen, please help us welcome a seasoned moderator, Ms. Watikio Favoroff. Thank you so much.
This is Deidre Taylor from Super Neighborhood, 42.
Okay, we're going to have the candidates come in and then we'll get started. So first of all, to our candidates, welcome. We first of all appreciate appreciate the time of showing up here tonight in the community. We are actively engaged in District B and want to hear from each and every one of you. But before we get started, let me just do a little housekeeping just to make sure that we can guarantee a great experience, not only for you and the community. It is not a debate. We have invited the candidates here today to be given the opportunity to introduce themselves to you in the community, to be able to answer some specific questions that's important to District B that has been organized by the committee. We've also given everyone the opportunity to present questions on your questions card. And so that's in District B. So again, we will conduct this in order and fashion. It's not a debate, it's a forum. So with that being said, we welcome all of you tonight. We're gonna go ahead and get started. I don't see a time somewhere, so I'm gonna. So to our candidates, welcome. Your official timekeeper is the young lady in blue. She will wave a 30-second to let you know you should be winding down, and then a stop, and respectfully, we ask you to stop at that moment, because again, we want to give every candidate the opportunity. Position, you open yourself up to public scrutiny, you open your families and your lives up to public opinion, and that comes with the role. One of the most important things we want to get out of the gate, we want to know who you are, what is your platform and why you're running, and if you actually live in the district as you begin your introductory comments. So you have 1 minute. We do have 3 mics, so once we get to that point, you guys can stop and we'll pass it on. So let's start with our first candidate here. Your name, your platform, and if you live in the district.
Good afternoon. My name is Robert Butler, and I live in Civic. I've lived in Civic since 1970. I didn't live in there when I went to college, and I did some work in Austin for 25 years with the Texas legislature. The reason that I'm running is to make my community better. Y'all know what that means, so I'm not going into that. My platform is economic development, education, and crime. That's it.
Thank you. Mr. Butler.
Thank you so very much for having this forum, and it's such a delight to be here with fellow residents of District B. My name is Prince Bryant II. I'm a candidate. I'm a civic and community activist, former U.S. Navy sailor who loves service to community and country. I've been involved in the community, $60,000 of scholarships for young minority children. I've been instrumental in disaster relief since Hurricane Katrina as an on-site FEMA United, giving away hot meals. And for 4 years, I served as a precinct judge for Lakewood, improved our voter turnout and participation by over 400%. I'm running as a candidate for jobs and home.
I've worked for the Solid Waste Management Department as a laborer, worked myself up to become a community outreach coordinator, and I'm running so that I can be able to help our district with the day one, utilizing my experience, my know-how, and my proven track record. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you so much for having this forum. My name is in Trinity Garden, and I will tell you that I am not a politician, never thought that I would be running for office. But one of the reasons why I'm running is because whether you live in Acres Home, Trinity Garden, 5th Ward, or any of the communities that make up District B, I don't have to tell you that we are under-resourced, that we are underprivileged, and that we are underserved. We need someone that has the ability to bring a better economic stability to our district by creating jobs. We need someone that can tackle issues such as illegal dumping, and by making sure that we don't have just affordable homes, but we have mixed income housing. We also need someone that's going to truly advocate for our senior citizens that are behind closed doors, that don't have anyone checking on them, and that is at risk if they need some type of help from the city, that they have to take a lien out on their property. And so I am running to make sure that we have the resources to build a better economy, a better neighborhood.
Times awards under 2 different mayors for the Mayor's Proud Partnership Award. In 1997, I became the executive director of the GEC Hostiles. Under my leadership, I raised, under my leadership, $2.2 million for that new wellness center that's out in the 5th Ward area. There's numerous things that I have done in the community over the 25 years that I've been part of the community service. And I am proud to stand here and ask you for your vote to be the next city council person for District B. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone.
I'm sorry, before you go, I don't remember, sir, Mr. White, do you live in District B? I don't know if you answered.
I was born
For the record.
66 years.
Okay,
On the
appreciate
record.
it.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Cynthia Bailey. Yes, I'm a district resident, born and raised in City Gas. Now we live in Lakewood, still a part of the District B. There's an elephant in the room, so I'm gonna address that. I'm not gonna tell you why I'm
Ms.
running.
Bailey, I'm sorry, your mic is cutting out, so let us give you a different one.
Okay.
We'll let you start all over with her time, please, will you restart time?
Okay, my name is Cynthia Bailey. I'm running for Houston City Council District B. Born and raised in City Gas, now live in Lakewood. But there's an elephant in the room. Numerous calls have come through, questionnaires and everything. Yes, I am the person who was on the news that they said they committed a felony. That was me. 12 years ago, I did a crime. I paid my time. I paid my debt to society. So you cannot continue to bring this up about Cynthia Bailey. I did it. That was me. so we can stop that about whatever. But what I will tell you, take from the time that I was let out to up to 12 years, and you do my track record. That's what Cynthia Bailey is about. I'm no longer that person. I'm no longer that person. So I advise you to vote for Cynthia Bailey for City Council District B. That's all I'm going to say about my criminal record. Thank you.
I give honor to God first and to each and every one of you here today. Truly, I'm glad to be here in the presence of all you good people. My name is Kenneth Perkins. I lived in Northeast Houston for many, many years. I reside in Northeast area, Fontaine. For many years, I worked as a Houston police officer and sergeant for many, many years. And I don't want to go back and forth with the area and the infrastructure and all these other things that the other candidates said. You know what we need. You're looking at it. You're looking at it right now. It's about time we get someone from this area because we have not gotten anything yet. I don't want to hear no more about the board, about housing and education. You can't get anything until you take care of business. And taking care of business is securing your neighborhood. Once you get your neighborhood police and get things in order, then you can talk about the church. Then you can talk about the taxes. Then you can talk about education. Right now, people are scared to leave their houses. How are you going to get anything? I'm asking you, those of you that are smart and have a great deal of intellect, know business, and understand and see foolishness, then you know what to do. Kenneth Perkins is that person. Thank you and God bless you.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Allison Quintana, and I'm a first-generation Houstonian. I moved here to go to the University of Houston. I have a very strong educational background in finance and economics. I'm running because I feel like we should be represented by everyday people from our community. I'm running because I want to bring diversity to our leadership. I'm running because I'm so tired of looking at the trash every day. I'm so tired of us not holding the right people accountable for the things that are going on in our neighborhood. Accountability is one of the biggest issues that we are facing right now in our district, whether it's accountability in the landowners or accountability with the city departments or just accountability with better partnerships that we should have formed with our law enforcement. Vote for me, Allison Quintana, for City Council District B.
Allison, I'm sorry, I didn't hear if you actually live in district.
Yes, I live in 5th Ward, and I used to live in Trinity Gardens.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Good afternoon. My name is Huey German Wilson, and I am your candidate for Houston City Council District B. I was born in Trinity Gardens, and I currently live in Trinity Gardens. And the work that I do is in Trinity Gardens, Cashmere Gardens, 5th Ward. I work across this district currently on housing issues so that I can continue that work across the city and work with the people on this panel because we've worked tirelessly together over the last few years. That is having Crime Stoppers come out have Crime Stoppers come out and penalize people that are doing illegal dumping. That was the press conference that was held yesterday. That's a collaboration between the city and the county. These things are very important. We need to continue those efforts in housing. We have a new food farmers market in Cashmere Gardens. We want to expand that across this city, across these communities that are food insecure. Thank you. I'm Huey German Wilson, City Council District B.
Hello, everybody. My name is Chris McGillum. I am running for City Council District B. I was born and raised in District B. I currently live on Valley Forest. Okay. And I currently go to school. I'm an 18-year-old college student at Houston Baptist University. Ever since I was little, I would notice certain things that happens in our neighborhood. I left going to school in HISD to go to another school all the way in Galena Park because the education system was failing us here. Another reason I'm running is because every day you wake up, you look outside and you see trash. Another reason I want to run for city council is because it's not safe to come outside. I haven't seen a police officer patrol Valley Forest since. You remember the stick-up situation that happened, the hostage situation that happened? That's the last time I ever saw police officers in our area. And that's my time. Thank you. Vote for me, Chris McGillum.
Good evening. My name is Tarsha Jackson, and I am running for Houston City Council District B. I was born and raised in the district, Acres Homes. I currently live in Greenspoint, and I lived in the North Forest district where I went to East Houston and Kirkland Middle School that is now closed down. So I'm running because I want to fight for the changes the district deserves. I'm a parent turned advocate. I got involved after my 10-year-old special needs son was arrested in his elementary school for refusing to go to a timeout. And so I left my job to fight for my son. In 2007, I was instrumental in getting legislation passed that prohibit counties from jailing kids on Class C misdemeanors. I fought after Hurricane Ike to win millions of dollars to repair homes damaged after the storm. And recently, we fought to keep bus routes from shutting down. So I've been fighting in the community and getting results, and I want to fight for the changes the district deserves. Some of the things I want to focus on is jobs. $15 an hour. Right now, you have District B, 40% of the people make under $25,000 a year, and we cannot sustain a family on that. I want to make sure our neighborhoods are not flooding, and making sure that we're fighting real crime and not arresting people on traffic tickets and fees and fines. My name is Tarsha Jackson. I'm running for Houston City Council District B. Thank you.
Tarsha, can you sit your mic back down this way? Okay.
My name is Karen Coxey-Tirnisha, and I want to be your voice, your choice for Houston City Council District B. I was born in the district and I live in the district. But I want you to imagine for a moment. I want to partner with you as we build together the District B of our dreams. What we need is a district where there's sanitation without complication. There's precipitation without inundation. There's beautification without gentrification. And all the roads and sidewalks are paved with the best concrete in the nation. But the batch plant is not in your backyard. If we do these things, just all of the residents of District B will be full of jubilation. In other words, pick up our trash, keep our drains clean, keep the people, get rid of the rubbish. Karen Coxey-Tirnisha, your choice, your voice for Houston City Council District B. Thank you.
Wow, what an introduction to all of the candidates. Thank you so much. So for those that are just joining, a little housekeeping. If you'll please silence your phone. This is not a debate, it is a forum. If we've already received questions, so the questions are closed. We will not take any hackling or any questions from the floor. We want to move in orderly and in fashion. So we've had an opportunity to introduce the candidates. Now it's time to get down to work. This next set of questions will give every candidate a minute to respond. And these set of questions are things that have come up as themes, which means they consistently show up in the district as an opportunity for improvement. And so we want to know what's their point of view and what's the plan. Once we leave this set of questions, we'll then go to, and we actually have a very good stack of questions that have come up from the audience. So I want you to listen patiently. You have your candidate report card, write down your thoughts and comments. Final comment, I want everyone to leave here that the city, state, and federal governments, or whoever, will vet these candidates accordingly. So don't spend your time worrying about if someone is qualified, if it's the right person. There is a due process that every one of these candidates will go through. So let's just focus on them and how they're going to bring value to our community if we can do that. Okay, you guys ready? We're going to go left to right, and then we'll start right back to left for this set of questions. So starting with you, what are your top 3 priorities when you are elected to City Council District?
My top 3 priorities would be my platform, which is economic development in the community, crime, and education.
Thank you. Next candidate.
Jobs, home ownership, and police response time.
My top 3 priorities, once I get elected, would be restoration, that's getting folks back into their homes who were devastated by Harvey, illegal dumping, which is part of environmental injustice, and then also safety, public safety.
My top 3 priorities would definitely be infrastructure, making sure that we have the proper infrastructure so that we can get the affordable homes and mixed income housing that we need. Also making sure that we are focusing on our economic development, and then making sure that we have better access to the resources such as quality health care, and grocery stores that are needed.
Stop illegal dumping. Neighborhood safety and economic development.
My top three priorities is safety, community development, and jobs for the people in our district that not only look like me, they're all like me. They have a record. They need a second chance. We need to stop pointing the finger at those who made a mistake and embrace them, because we're supposed to be Christians. Some of us are. Stop checking the box. Give them a chance. Somebody gave me a chance. And I sit here today with the opportunity to want to represent the people who look like me, who drive the same streets I do. So give people a chance to stop tearing people down. That's what we need to do.
Public safety, economic development, and education. And I say education, it also stems with empowerment of the mind. And once I get your power of the mind, once I get your mind to be developed and think on your own and not allow other people to think for you, things will begin to transform for you. Things will begin to happen for the community. You'll see a change. But you have to learn how to think first in order to get something moving. Thank you.
My top three things would be the illegal dumping, economic development, and neighborhood and business alliances.
My top three priorities are education, mixed-use housing, and economic development.
My top three priorities will be building better hospitals in our neighborhoods, to get rid of the illegal dumping, and then the safety of our neighborhoods. Thank you.
My three top priorities are jobs, to make sure that any company that's doing business with the city or getting some type of tax dollar, that they hire from within our neighborhood, and they pay these people at least a good $15 an hour livable wage with some benefits. Flooding, making sure that the billions that's coming into our city, that we get our fair share. After Hurricane Ike, we had millions coming to the city, and it did not, none of that, the money would come to our district for infrastructure. So I want to fight to make sure that we're getting our fair share of our recovery dollars. And then criminal justice. I want to make sure our police is fighting real crime and not targeting people for traffic tickets and fees and fines. We can use that money that we're as we're incarcerating people for tickets and fines, we can invest those resources into our community. So I want to advocate for those things.
I'd like to advocate for illegal dumping. That is, we need to get rid of illegal dumping. Drainage and flooding, those are serious problems in our community. Economic development, which I believe starts with education. When we look at our district, if you, or your various zip codes, if you put those into your computer or your phone and type them in and go to the U.S. Census, you will find what the average income is in the district. When businesses come, they base what they're going to do on the income of the people in the community. So if we want to move forward, we need to invest part of the larger economic development process. So illegal dumping, drainage, and roads, economic development.
Perfect, thank you. So there's been a consistent theme up here, and I think it's been, as I was reading through some of the candidate forum questions, and that's this notion around how will you address illegal dumping? It's a nice to have on the agenda, and I know our community is interested in the a minute to answer this particular question.
Okay, first of all, I mentioned in the past two Civic Club meetings that I went to that we needed to have cameras that would take pictures of trucks that are coming in, get the license plate, and if they come into the community with trash, they need to leave with trash. Some of you may have been watching the news this morning and heard that the city is now talking about having collaboration with Harris County and Crime Stoppers to address the problem. So I'm glad to see that the city is stepping in that direction. So what that leaves me to do as far as illegal dumping is concerned is to help monitor what's going on and make sure that District B is well served. Was there another part of the question? No, that's it.
I feel that we should build up on what's already been done. Councilmember Davis and Constable Allen Rose, and they invested in cameras throughout the district. So utilize those cameras, but at the same time, couple it with expanding the frequency of trash pickup. Because right now, some of these areas only getting trash pickup once a week. And we need trash pickup more often. In addition to heavy trash pickup, need to be done at least once a month. California got this, it's a recycle initiative that I think we need to look into. And this gives an incentive to the people to bring it to that location or work with the business to go and pick up these particular items. And so just coming up with some smart solutions, but also continuing to using the cameras and, making sure we enforcing dumping, but coming up with some solutions to address the problem.
Okay, so I have two plans to alleviate the problem with dumping. One, we need cameras in these hotspots. They're all over Houston. We need to place cameras. The second plan I have is to bring jobs into the community by employing people within our districts to go into these hotspots and pick up the trash and take them to the actual landfill and get them off the streets of the community. And that way we kill two birds with one stone by bringing more jobs into the community and getting rid of the trash. Thank you.
I am currently working with Harris County, the City of Houston, Solid Waste. These are initiatives that we started 4 years ago to identify illegal dumping, the reasons for illegal dumping, and how we could mitigate those situations in our community. Yesterday was an answer to a long sought after prayer for the community because we finally got the City of Houston, Harris County, and Crime Stoppers to at least look at our problem and then incentivize ways for citizens to get rid of illegal dumping. So you identify the criminal, and these are criminals. These people come into our community after they picked up trash from someplace else and they illegally dump. Those are issues that are very real issues that I've worked with the city on for a number of years and Solid Waste, and now we have an answer to that prayer. Thank you.
First and foremost, I believe in the law, and I feel that we need to work with our city officials and our law enforcement to enforce the laws that we already have in place. Also, I think meeting with department heads to make sure that they understand the needs of our community. I think maybe some of the routes that are being taken for the heavy trash, some parts of the district are not getting picked up. I know there's some parts in Trinity Gardens where they've missed heavy trash pickup over there for 3 rotations now, and the same pile of trash has just gotten so huge, it's just gotten into the right of way of the street. So I think working with the current enforcement that we have right now, and then also taking a look at some of these policies that are outdated that we currently have in place right now, we should lower the 180-day citation of illegal dumping to 30 days.
I've been visiting all these various places, and most of the places where they're dumping trash is around the bridges and all the overpasses. And I said, well, what are we going to do about it? Cameras is fine, but we still have to hold people accountable that's at top. If it's the mayor, we hold them accountable. If it's the city council at wide, we hold them accountable. But we have to do our part as well. We see something, we say something. But once we get these particular policies in place, we have to know how to implement policies and procedures in order to get things effective. Now, I don't know quite how often they're picking up. We need to speed up our policy for us getting some more days. But I think it's maybe 1 or 2 days a month, whatever that may be. Let's shift that to 4 or 5 days perhaps. But my belief is that once we start enforcing the laws and the policies and procedures that's in place, we can make some things happen with this illegal dumping, and it has become a very serious problem here all across Northeast Houston.
How we're gonna stop illegal dumping is, to be honest with you, you cannot stop it if you don't do anything about your neighbor that's dumping. I've been on the hot team of Jerry Davis for the last 2 years. People have called me time and time again. That was my job. But you go to the same place all the time. You've seen who put it there, but you won't say nothing. And then you say, well, you know, I don't want to get involved. You better get involved. Because they're going to put trash on your street, in front of your house, in your ditch, on side your house, and the city is not responsible for picking up trash in a vacant lot. Nobody lives there. But we have to come together and start mandating our own rules and regulations. How about you want the city to pick up this, the city to pick up that? Start picking up the phone and calling and telling somebody what's going on your block. Because you live there, let's start by us doing our job and we can slow it down. Thank you.
I am so sick and tired of using our neighborhood for dumps. That's the bottom line. If we want to stop illegal dumping, we can stop illegal dumping. How do we stop illegal dumping? We know where they dump. We should have inspectors sitting out there in plain clothes and plain cars, writing citations. When they dump that trash, they dump that trash.
You know, I think it's so unfortunate because as we leave our homes and go about our business, whether we're taking our kids to school or going to work, there's almost not a street that you can turn down in which you don't see someone that is contributing to the illegal dumping that we have in our communities. You know, a part of my community action plan is to make sure that I am moving the district forward. And it's unfortunate to say that there's no real way to stop illegal dumping unless we are looking at better use of our green space. You know, when they are dumping in our communities, they're dumping on vacant pieces of property. So as we all sit up here, what is the plan for that green space that we have in our community? How are we really going to hold other elected officials accountable and create more partnerships with them for the issues that we have in our neighborhood? And how are we going to more so create stronger policies that are going to make our communities better? You know, this is not an overnight process, but it takes a plan. And to me, the plan is to start with better use of the green space that we have in which they're dumping on.
One of the things we have to do is that we have to face reality. We cannot avoid our responsibility as a community. When you see something, say something. We can't keep blaming the city of Houston in regards to picking it up because we know they pick it up. Here's the deal, people are putting it back now. I propose that we have the same mechanism that we have with Mow Down program, you guys remember that? The city of Houston would pay the community to go cut weeded lots. We can use that same mechanism to create jobs for folks who can go and pick up illegal dumping, give them a special decal or some type of permit where they can go to the front of the line at the depository, drop that load off, go back out, and get another load.
The solution is a much more complex response. First thing you have to do, and Bird touched on it, is you have to address the dumping process. Right now, you have to have a water bill and a TDL license that match your water bill, and there's a fee to dump. We need to take away the fee, make it free for homeowners to dump. The second thing we need to do is, again, home ownership. Renters don't care about the community that they're staying in. They're transient. You have to make people stakeholders in the community by allowing them to be homeowners in the community. Homeowners respond and police their own neighborhoods and their own communities. And then I want to piggyback on the pay for drivers. We can improve and increase trash pickup days. And they putting a stop sign on it.
My solution is the South Carolina plan. The state of South Carolina in cities charge their residents $4.75 a month. That's $57 a year. They take that money, put it in a fund, they buy trucks, they state law, and those are significant and serious fines. So my two solutions are create a fund, it pays for trucks, drivers, and technology. You call, they come pick it up. Secondly, the state of Texas will give a state agency the authority to, when you violate the law, you also violate the state law.
Thank you. So let's switch it over just a little bit. Many of you guys tonight have talked about, you know, the community taking ownership, individuals, residents playing a part, and we do have some community leaders here. So one of the things we'd like to know is a part of your plan. Explain, and we'll give candidates, again, 1 minute. Explain your plan or open door policy as it relates to meeting with the community. Oftentimes, that's a nice to have, and most candidates
What is happening in and on the streets in people's neighborhoods and communities. You cannot do this job. Nobody, whoever you pick, cannot do this job if they do not talk to all and every single person from District B that speaks to them. They will be doing you a disservice, and they will be doing this office a disservice. They have to talk to every single person. And I will be meeting with people whenever they come downtown.
I think the measure of what a man will do is based on what he has already done. As I was the voting precinct chairman for Lakewood, we met once a quarter with the neighborhood and with the community leaders. We always gave out our personal cell phone number, so we were always immediately accessible to citizens and residents that had concerns they had. Being a minister for over 20 years, I understand that success is based on relationships. You have to have relationships not only with other people sitting at the horseshoe downtown, not only with county and the legislator in Austin, you also have to have a relationship with your voters and with the constituents of the community. So yes, we will be more than available for our civic leaders, more than available. One of the first things we're going to do in our first 100 days is create a schedule where we will be touring the district on a monthly basis, Stop sign is coming again.
First and foremost, suggesting that you guys select who your representative will be for that advisory committee from your respective areas. We know Bartersville and Pleasantville don't know each other. Let's work on consensus with that. Fifth Ward and Acres Homes don't know each other. Let's work on consensus with that, and that advisory group will be able to do that and keep your council member informed.
I think we all know the old saying about a house divided, right? And that I plan to have every month so that they know what's happening in our district. For far too long, we've seen gas stations come up, cement batch plants, we see new development, and we have no clue where it's coming from because no one has told us. So I believe, again, honesty and transparency is what we need, and the next person that's going to represent us for Houston City Council.
One of the things that I know about getting things done is your ability to form relationships. If you can't have the ability to form relationships with people, you can't get anything done. Since I've been on this campaign trail, I've met most of the civic leaders in the various different communities, and I like to think that I have formed relationships with them. Those relationships will continue. Only promise that I'll make, because I'm not going to make a bunch of promises for this job. I promise that the relationships that I have made on this campaign trail, I will continue those relationships when I'm in office. I will continue to come to the city club meeting, because that's where I've been all the time. I've been part of the PIP. I've been going to these city club meetings so long, some of the people think that I live in that community. And I don't. So I was
about the lying tongue. And that's really all I have to say about that. But for the open door policy, I'm open 24/7. People calls me all the time, constantly. To somewhere it seems like I don't get any sleep. But I will ask you this. Once I'm getting off office, and you don't call me on Sundays. Just don't call me on Sundays. You can call me any other time, but leave my Sundays alone, okay? But I believe that there should be some form of relationship between yourself and the council members and the civic club members and things of that magnitude. You know, we have to be a little bit more serious about what we do. We're having fun, we're entertaining, but this is no longer a joke. This is serious business. The stop sign is stop, I'm going to have to respect that, but you know what to do.
Let's face the facts, there's over 200,000 people that live in District B, and I only have one set of eyes. So I think community outreach and civic leader outreach is very pertinent for our community to progress. And I think that I would like to develop a community outreach team that where every civic leader is able to submit monthly agenda, and that everything would be very transparent, very accessible. And every month I would meet with the civic leaders, and before we even meet, I'd make sure that I go over everybody's
Since my family started Southeastern Christian Association, I was able to talk for myself. I've been a pillar in the community. When they closed Children's First Academy just down the street, I was on the TV, on the front line, fighting for Children's First Academy. I'm here and I understand that you cannot get anything accomplished without communication from your community. I understand that, and I also understand that everybody needs criticism, and criticism is okay, because how are you supposed to grow without criticism?
My students, I knew that they needed to get in touch with me. I didn't have an office. So I started using email. And after that, I started to allow them to call me on the telephone. And what I found, even on my syllabus now, I let them know that they can get in touch with me 24/7. That's just the way it is. So they're surprised when they get an answer at 3 in the morning. Like, you're awake at that time? Well, I understand as council person that I will not immediately be able to answer all the queries that I may get. But these are some of the things that I want to do. I've already had meetings with ministers and teachers. I did just last week, and I want to continue that. I think I have a hotline that I've already
So you may not hear your question called out verbatimly the way that you've written it, but I have taken some time to go through the questions to kind of summarize what it looks like overall. Okay, so one of the questions that's come up, and we'll let whatever candidate wants to respond to it, so it's not a one-for-one type of question, so I'll ask maybe 4 of the candidates, to respond to it. One of the questions that came up that says, we are surrounded by train tracks in Northeast
called HPD, who can actually write a ticket to the conductor of the train. And what that does is to make sure that that conductor understands that he cannot stage at our crossing our major thoroughfares. One of the other ways is that there's a relationship that's already been formulated. We're trying to see if that we can turn some of our railways into
even when the trains are not.
Thank you. I think Ms. Wilson, you had your hand raised. No?
She's got a mic now.
Thank you. We're currently working with Union Pacific, Southern Pacific, BNSF, and the city and the state, because the railroad is regulated by the state. And so they've got to be a key player in getting them out here on the ground, talking to our citizens about the environmental issues that we have with the railroad. Yeah, we have huge issues around because the city doesn't have any better relationship with Union Pacific and BNSF than we do. So we need to foster those relationships and cultivate those and keep them in our community on the ground, talking to us and being sensitive to our needs.
And then I think Karen, no, okay. We have one room for one more candidate, sir.
This is a difficult question. To add to what she's saying, railroads are federally regulated. The state has a say in each state a railroad is in. But I have worked with Union Pacific, and they are a beast. They are out of Nebraska. They don't care anything about Texas. This is a business. The community in Rosewood borders right next to them and have difficult problems with them. If anybody in here can tell me, besides Ms. Wilson, that they sat down and won a battle, got a meeting, got contributions of community partnerships with Union Pacific. That is who that company is. They don't care if your neighborhood floods. They don't care if you're late for work. The trains are getting longer. It is a business. They carry the most amount of freight in the country. Not planes, not cars. Those trains do. It is a difficult problem.
Thank you. Thank you for responses. Okay, the next set of questions comes a little bit about around the time.
Economic development, we can't get around it.
Person.
So financial and economics run a correlation with each other, and that's what I majored in college, and that's what I do now for a living. I do operational audit in oil and gas. In District B, we've had years and years of mismanagement of money. We need to take a look at how we're investing our money. We need to take a look at how we're going to be able to leverage our resources that we already have in play. As far as economic development goes, I think we need to also be having conversations with the people that are doing business in the community, because their dollars need to assess and maybe do an assessment of where our job set skills are now for the certain individuals who live in our district, and see where we can kind of match those skills with what is needed with these current neighborhoods. And also, we need to start holding some of these. Oh, my time.
First and foremost, we need to start telling these businesses what we don't want in our community. We don't want any more family dollars. We don't want any more Dollar General. We don't
And we need to start looking at the homes, because we need to make sure that we have people that are going to be able to help preserve and afford the things that we are placing in the neighborhood. Number two, we need to make sure that we are fostering relationships with people that have a vested interest in the people that are here. And what that means is making sure that we are bringing in retailers and other businesses that can provide jobs for the individuals that are here. There are jobs all throughout the city of Houston, but without the true mobility
invest everything that you have, everything that you are into the community. My name is Prince Brian. I want to make District B better.
I agree with Prince Brian in regards to the amount of time that it takes to be an effective council member. It will probably require all of your time. It is a full-time job. One of the things we want to do is to make sure that we understand that term limits lets us know that this is a baton passing situation. Nobody will stay in office that once elected, I will sit down with the present council member and make sure that we deal with priorities you've already set with him and keep those priorities going until completion.
Let me just say, excuse me, I didn't just move here to run for city council. I've been here. I've been here all of the almost 41 years of my life. So number one, we need somebody that's going to be 100% committed. Not 75, but 100% committed. Although I'm a small business owner, I started running this race about 3 years ago because I understand the importance of fostering relationships with people. Along with that, we need to make sure that we have someone that is involved in historic preservation.
The job gonna do to me. It's gonna keep me up at night.
Being not pleased with the former council person, I'm not one of them. Because that man gave me an opportunity. That man didn't look at me as a crew, as a family. He looked at me as a person that wanted to do for my community. And he said, I'll give you that chance. So, want to bash out former council members? No, I can't do that. I can't even bash the people who put me on the news. I can't do that. Because that's not in me. What's in me is to give.
then that's when change is going to come about. I admire these candidates. I really do. I admire each and every one of you. But the truth is what the truth is. And the truth will set you free. I'm here on a daily basis, and I run back and forth, city council, these issues. Every day I'm talking about these